Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We've been watching too much TV again and can't help but notice that it's a staple of every cable news show on television, pretty much. The battle for the soul of the Republican Party. The other channels are forever inviting on some discredited neocon moron or unemployed political hack to fret about how the GOP is in a state of existential crisis. The topic isn't entirely phony. Real rifts do exist, obviously, and we cover them. But basically, in its totality, this is propaganda because it intentionally obscures a much larger and far more interesting story. The Democratic Party is transforming before our eyes. The party of Tom Foley and Tip O'Neill and even Bill Clinton is long gone. Pretty soon, the party of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will be history, too. In its place is emerging something new, the party of Andrew Gillum. Gillum is the mayor of Tallahassee. As of last night, he's the Democratic nominee for governor of Florida. Here's some of what he believes.
We want to replace ICE with the Department of Justice, an entity that has not been tarnished in the same way as ICE has.
So again, he says you want to abolish ICE, you say you want to replace it. That's basically the same.
In the state of Florida, I also believe that health care ought to be treated like a right and not a privilege. Right?
Do you think the president should be impeached?
I absolutely do. I think he's already incriminated himself by interfering with the Department of Justice, firing Jim Comey, of whom I'm no fan of, but basically obstructing justice.
The state of Florida has long been considered moderate politically. It's a vital swing state, obviously, during presidential elections. Many pundits last night and today, even Democrats, have been quick to dismiss Andrew Gillum's chances this fall. He's too far out, they're saying. He's too much of an outsider. That's absurd. They have no idea what they're talking about. They were embarrassingly wrong in the last election, and they have learned precisely nothing since. Amazingly, they're still in the predictions business when they should be selling aluminum siding or doing something useful. Ignore them. Of course Andrew Gillum could win. You ought to be taking his candidacy very seriously. Candidacies like his are erupting in a lot of places right now. The man almost certain to be governor of the biggest state in the country just announced that he plans to give free health care to foreign nationals here illegally. Watch.
I did universal health care when I was mayor, fully implemented, regardless of pre-existing condition ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. San Francisco is the only universal health care plan for all undocumented residents in America. I'm very proud of that. And we proved it can be done without bankrupting the city. I'd like to see that we can extend that to the rest of the state.
So you sneak into a country, ignoring its laws, and you get free health care in return. What a country. In New York City, meanwhile, a city councilman named Jumaane Williams is within striking distance of becoming that state's next lieutenant governor. You might recognize his name. Williams is a pretty good guy, actually. He's a frequent guest on the show. He's the one who's always calling everyone a bigot, who wants to take your guns away and throw open the borders to the world. We're not exaggerating, by the way. Check YouTube if you don't believe it. That's him. Meanwhile, in the state of Arizona, the Democratic nominee for governor, David Garcia, says he would like to erase any barrier at all between the United States and Mexico.
I want to just take a second and imagine. Let's just imagine. Just imagine no wall. No wall in southern Arizona.
Arizona was once one of the most conservative states politically in the country. Now it's a completely different place. He could win. If enough of these candidates do win, you won't have to imagine what a borderless America might look like. It'll be the reality and just the beginning of the new reality. Consider this, a proposal from Zephyr Teachout. She's a candidate for Attorney General in the state of New York.
And as Attorney General, I will continue to speak out against ICE. I will prosecute ICE for their criminal acts.
Putting law enforcement in prison for enforcing the laws that bipartisan majorities in Congress passed. So you don't need to be a Trump partisan or a conservative Republican or some kind of wacko right-winger to worry about all of this. Any normal American ought to be deeply concerned about what the Democratic Party is in the process of becoming. A lot of Democrats are very concerned about it.